Hey everybody! I want to talk about my favorite strategy for emotional regulation. And this has been really helpful for me both in sport and in life. This is a technique that I learned from one of my dear friends and mentors, Isabelle Tierney, and it's a methodology that she developed, which she calls the stress reset methodology. And so she works with people to help them reduce their level of stress, be able to have more success in their lives without, really feeling that stress and that strain that we all kind of get to feel when things get a little crazy. So this has also been really helpful to me when I've been racing my bike or when I've been on a tour or like a long run and, something goes wrong that I have to deal with. I can tend to get a little bit worked up, like, oh my God, I'm losing time. This thing broke. I got to fix this. And that doesn't really help my cause, right? That doesn't help me move faster. That doesn't help me, just be in a good headspace for doing what I need to do. Same thing in life, even making this course, I was dealing with the technology and I definitely felt myself like getting worked up at times and being like, oh, I can't figure out this platform and this upload isn't working, and that also just kind of spirals me into a negative place, and it's not a good state to be creating your work in, whatever type of work that you do. So this is a really great technique that you can use. It's simple, it's powerful, it's effective, and I've been practicing it for a few years now. So basic concept is so she calls the two kind of different reactions, the green zone and the red zone. So if you think about the green zone, that's like these trees in my background. It's like you're peaceful, you're calm, you feel in your body like you're relaxed, you're not tense, you have thoughts like, oh, I can do this, this is gonna be okay, I've got this, I can figure it out, the world is a wonderful place, things like that. When you are in the green zone, you can notice that in your emotions, you can notice that in your thoughts, you can notice that in the sensations that you feel in your body, and you can also notice it in your beliefs. So like your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about others, your beliefs about the world. They're just going to be more like joyful and peaceful and happy and useful when you're in that green zone state. Now the green zone is also associated with the parasympathetic nervous system. So in the animal world, which we are part of, the parasympathetic nervous system is the one that's activated when we are resting, when we are eating and digesting our food, when we don't have to run from a predator. It's stimulated by the vagus nerve, which comes down in here and innervates our diaphragm. So the diaphragm is the muscle that we have been using while practicing the rib expansion breathing in the foundations. So this is going to be a bit of a tie together between the physical and the psychological, because the rib expansion breathing not only helps us to expand our lung capacity, but it also helps to bring us into that parasympathetic nervous system response and that more green zone state, which is where we are way more rational, we can make better decisions, and we're smarter, we're not clouded by fear, and we are just happier, we feel better in all ways. So that's the green zone. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have the red zone. The red zone is the sympathetic nervous system fight, flight, freeze response. Okay, so when I'm in the red zone, in my body, I feel tense, I might feel my heart racing, I might feel like that anxiety kind of clenching feeling in my gut. I might, so that's the physical, those sensations. I might feel in my emotions, I might feel anxious, I might feel nervous, I might feel upset, angry, those types of emotions. My thoughts might look something like, oh my gosh, this is too hard, I'm never going to figure it out, or, oh, my wheel just fell off on this race and now I'm screwed and everything's bad and I'm going to die, or shoot, I'm lost in the woods, I'm never going to be able to get back to where I need to be. Thinking about more adventure stuff, in my work, thinking about my technology woes. I could say, I'm never going to figure this out, I'm going to have to throw the whole thing out the window. Those types of thoughts are red zone thoughts. They're that like fight or flight, fear response thought. And emotions, fearful, anxious, nervous, those types of things. And then beliefs. So beliefs about like myself, beliefs about others, beliefs about the world. when we're in the red zone, you know, aren't going to look as happy and peaceful. They might think like, oh, I'm not capable of this, I'm not good enough, people are mean, the world is a terrible place, you know, those types of thoughts. And so if you think about it, like the red zone is that, I kind of alluded to this before, but the red zone is that sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, or freeze. So as animals, when we need to run from a predator, or when we need to, you know, run away from just anything that physically is going to hurt us, like that's what that red zone is for. Like the red zone's not bad, the red zone's actually good because that can save us from like legit physical harm. Now the problem comes when we don't rationally perceive physical harm and like, or physical, you know, physical danger, physical stress, and like psychological, so like social stress differently, because the body doesn't naturally do that. So for example, we would perceive a mountain lion attacking us in the woods and haters on social media as the same type of danger, right? Even though like haters on social media aren't going to reach through the screen and grab you and strangle you, okay? Whereas a mountain lion might actually bite your head off. So they're different, but when we are in the red zone, we don't rationalize that difference. Know what I mean? So when we're in the green zone, we can rationalize that difference, and we can say, okay, I'm starting to feel those red zone responses coming up in me a little bit. Is this valid? Do I need to literally run from a predator or a life-threatening situation? Or is this something where it's not actually harmful and I need to just calm myself down and use techniques such as deep breathing to bring myself back into that green zone so I can make rational decisions and act from a rational place? So the cardinal rule is never take action from the red zone unless your life is legit in danger, which if it is, your body's gonna know. Your body's gonna kick into that. If you're about to get hit by a train or eaten by a mountain lion, your body's gonna kick into that red zone response faster than you can even consciously like make it happen with your brain, right? So that's our body's mechanism of saving us. But unless our life is legit in danger, making decisions and taking action from the red zone can be really detrimental to our health, can be detrimental to our lives and our relationships. So not typically a good thing to do. When I am in a race or when I'm on an adventure and I feel myself kind of going into the red zone for whatever reason, that is never the time to quit. So my personal rule is never quit when I'm in the red zone. You know, it's easy when things are going wrong or you're not feeling good or you feel like you're lost or whatever it is to just, you know, freak out and get in that red zone place and want to pull the plug. But that's not the time to do it. Right, so the right thing to do is to use strategies to bring yourself back into the green zone, take a little minute, and then make the decision or take the action. So in adventure and in life, taking action from the red zone can be a really detrimental thing to do and usually leads to something that you're going to regret. So I do not recommend that. So the second part of this is being able to know whether we're in the green zone or the red zone, or the yellow zone that's in between, right? So we're not always at one extreme or the other. We're not in like bliss state or fight, flight, freeze state all the time. There's this yellow zone in the middle, okay? And yellow zone's okay. It's not bad to be there, but there's a spectrum, right? So if like one is red zone, 10 is green zone, there's a whole lot of yellow zone in the middle, okay? So Isabelle developed this scale, the stress reset scale. She also calls it the feel good scale because it's literally just tracking how good you feel in any moment. So I'll show a diagram of this because it's easier to visualize it when you can actually just see it. But if you think about a triangle and you've got the numbers 1 to 10, starting at the very tip of the triangle is number 1, and going down the scale all the way to 10 at the base of the triangle, okay? And then you think about the colors. So like 1, 2, 3 at that little tip of the triangle, that's your red zone area, so that's red. And then down here in the green zone at the base of the triangle, you've got like 10, 9, 8, okay? So like 4 through 7 is, again, that kind of intermediate yellow zone area. It's really important to track how good we feel, like using those numbers pretty often, because that just helps us to know ourselves better, and it helps us to know our signals better. Our signals from our body, our signals from our emotions, our signals with our thoughts or our beliefs. And the more that we know what our personal like green zone signals and red zone signals are, the easier it's going to be for us to say, oh, okay, I'm in the red zone right now. I need to take some steps to bring myself back down. Or we can say, oh, wow, I'm really in the green zone right now. This is an amazing experience, and I want to really kind of connect with this and remember how this feels so that I can reproduce this in other areas of my life. Okay, so these things translate across multiple areas. So we've got our triangle. And so the thing that I want to invite you to do is just to start practicing this, just like you practice all of the foundations of movement on their own. So we deconstruct complex movements, and then we practice them on our own, so that then we can build them back up and do more complex dynamic movements with correct alignment and good body position and muscle activation. We can do the same thing with our emotional state using the stress reset scale with the numbers and the red zone and the green zone concept. When you're first starting to practice this, it can be as simple as setting timers throughout your day. Like every hour, every few hours, you can set anchor habits that you can use to then, check in with yourself. So like every time I brush my teeth, I'm gonna also think about like, oh, what number am I on the scale? How good do I feel right now? Am I like at a 4 or am I at a 9? Find what's sustainable for you and figure out how to just start putting that foundation of, emotional regulation and mindset into your daily practice as well. So every so often, you just want to check in with yourself, especially if you're really busy. A really good time to do this is when you're kind of flying around in your day. And if you remember, or if your timer goes off, and you just take a minute and just stop. If you can, close your eyes. You don't have to. Obviously, don't do this if you're driving or whatever, but you can close your eyes, put your feet on the ground, feel your feet on the earth, and just check in with your body, just like we've been practicing, and ask yourself, what number am I at right now? How good do I feel? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like extreme red zone, I am freaking out. 10 being extreme green zone, I'm pretty much in the most blissful Zen state I could possibly be in. What number am I at? And when that number comes to you, you can also ask yourself, okay, like, does that feel good to me? If I'm at a 4 or a 5 in the yellow zone, a little closer to red than green, am I okay with that right now? Is that helping me in any way? Or do I want to take some steps to bring myself closer to green zone so I can be a little more effective in my actions and my decisions? So checking in with ourselves multiple times during the day to track where we're at is really useful. Okay? So how do we change our number on the stress reset scale? How do we make ourselves feel more good? How do we bring ourselves closer to the green zone? Well, there are lots of different techniques to do that, and as you practice this, you'll figure out for yourself what your kind of preferred strategies are and your preferred habits to get into that will bring you closer to the green zone. The easiest one to start with is simply breathing. Deep breathing, particularly a deep, slow in-breath and a deep, slower out-breath, stimulates that vagus nerve, but literally physiologically brings our body out of that fight-flight red zone state and down into that rest and digest and reset green zone state. So literally all you have to do, and again, if you can, close your eyes, and like I teach in the foundations, bring your brain inside your body. So, you're not necessarily bringing it into any certain muscle to work on your physical alignment, but you're bringing it just into your general body to check in with your state, right? And then just take some deep breaths. Slow breath in through your nose, slow breath out through your nose, and see how many counts you can make it. All right, so see how slow you can breathe in and see how slow you can breathe out. So scuba diving has always been a really scary kind of thing for me. I've never done it before, and my entire life I said I will never go scuba diving. It's terrifying. But I was in Thailand after my Pakistan expedition, and there was scuba diving available, and I really wanted to try it. So I said to myself, okay, let me see if I can use this methodology and these skills and techniques to keep myself in the green zone while I'm scuba diving so I can actually have a pleasant experience. And it was a little bit hard at first, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of failed on my first dive. I was a little bit, but my second dive that same day, I was able to do it. And I was able to keep my breathing nice and slow and long. And we were under the ocean for about an hour. And when we all came up, I actually was the one who had the most oxygen left in my tank, and I was the only complete beginner. So if you think about that as a metaphor, or as how it translates to other things, when you're exercising, when you're out in the mountains, when you're hiking, biking, whatever, when you're in the water, paddling, our muscles need as much oxygen as possible to function at their highest capacity. And our organs need as much oxygen as possible, our heart and our lungs, to function at their highest capacity. And so obviously when we're really aerobic and we're, running or biking or paddling, our breaths are going to be faster because we need more oxygen to get to our bodies. But if we are also, moving fast and working our bodies, but yet also keeping ourselves kind of a little bit lower emotional state into that green zone, and we're not stressed in that red zone, we're also going to be able to use the oxygen that we're putting into our bodies at a much higher capacity. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so those are the basics of the stress reset methodology. Again, developed by my mentor, Isabelle Tierney. She's amazing. Look her up if you would like. Basic concepts: red zone, green zone, yellow zone in the middle. The numbers: 1, very tip top, red zone, freaking out state. 10, green zone, very base of that triangle, blissful state, open and expansive. Making sure that you track and recognize and become familiar with all of the signals in all your systems. So the sensations in your physical body when you're in the red zone versus the green zone, the emotions that you feel when you're in the red zone versus the green zone, the thoughts that you have when you're in the red zone versus the green zone, and the beliefs that you have about yourself, others, the world, when you're in the red zone versus the green zone. So what I encourage you to do is really dive into this and go ahead and write those things down. And you can sit and think about it, or you can put yourself in that state. Next time you find yourself in the red zone, you can sit down with a journal and be like, this is how my body feels, this is my sensations, these are my emotions, these are my thoughts, these are my beliefs, right? And then real time you can track that. Same thing in the green zone. Next time that you're just like in the flow and you're blissed out, whether that's on your favorite trail, whether that's paddling a river, whether that's like cooking an amazing meal, whether it's playing with your kids or hanging out with your dog, whatever it is, you're in that green zone state and everything just feels good, track that. What does my body feel like when I feel this good? What are my emotions when I feel this good? What is my mind doing when I feel this good? What are my beliefs when I feel this good? So start to work on that, and then just see how it impacts all of your life. And you, again, just like the foundations of movement, you can take these foundations of mindset and emotional regulation and bring them out into every area of your life and every area of your sports. All right, give it a try and have fun.